When we buy a smartphone, we are more excited about camera specs, screen size, memory, and in some cases, processors like Snapdragon or Samsung Exynos. But what we don't think about is the operating system that smartphone is running on. Android is world's most popular mobile operating system, powering more than 85% of all the smartphones. Android is based on Linux operating system, which is open source. And that's the topic of today's video. In this video, we'll be talking about open source softwares and how they are different from proprietary softwares. So what is open source software? Open source software is a software that allows anybody to use that software and anybody to inspect that software because it's open source. Source code is available to everybody. It can be modified by anybody and anyone can add features to that software and can share it with friends. While an open source software is open to use, modified and to be shared, like Mozilla Firefox and VLC Player, proprietary softwares are the ones which are managed by individuals or the organizations that holds the exclusive intellectual property right of the source code, and nobody outside that circle is allowed to view the code, let alone inspect it. Some examples are Microsoft Windows operating system, Microsoft Office Suite, or Adobe Photoshop. Whenever we hear about open source software, the first thing that comes into mind is free software. Well, that's not entirely true. Open source programmers can charge money for their software, but because an open source license requires them to release the source code when they sell the software to others, some programmers find charging for support and services more profitable. Now, there are three types of licenses: copyright, copyleft, and permissive. Copyright gives legal rights to the author to make copies of that software, and no one else can copy or distribute that software. One good example is Microsoft Office. Next is copyleft. Copyleft license requires same rights to be included in any derivative work, which means if you create a software out of any open source, you have to use the same license and conditions as the source. You cannot add or remove any restrictions you want. A good example of this one is GNU General Public License, and Linux kernel falls under this license. Third is permissive. Permissive license don't put conditions like copyleft and copyright. It allows you to use open source inside a proprietary or a closed source software, and also allows you to modify it and make it proprietary later. You can decide on whether you want to publish the code or you don't want to publish the code. Most popular examples are Apache and MIT license. Android is under Apache license, which allows source code to be used in any non-open source or commercial software. Now, what are the advantages of having an open source software? First one is control. Companies can modify the software as per their need and the way they want to use it. Second is training. People can study and learn about the code. They can make modifications and ask others to critique and comment on their work. Third is security. Because open source projects are studied by a wider audience, chances of spotting and fixing bugs and correcting mistakes is quicker than proprietary software. Next is stability. Even if original authors or creators stop working on the software, code would still be out there, and open source community can still work on it and upgrade it. Last is community. Open source often inspire a community of users and developers who produce, test, promote, support, and affect the software. Let's talk about open source softwares which are great replacements of the proprietary software. You can replace Microsoft Office Suite with LibreOffice or OpenOffice, Adobe Photoshop with GIMP, which is GNU Image Manipulation Program. If the media player on your device is unable to play a certain media file format, VLC is something that plays almost every media file format that exists, and it is an open source. If you are a Windows user who want to try an open source operating system, I would recommend trying Ubuntu. Let us know which is your favorite open source software. Hit that like button if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe. Thank you so much.